Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Blackluster Soldier deck profile. So we've already done Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, Buster Blader, and Dark Magician Girl in the last month, so I figured why not update Blackluster Soldier. This deck is a really fun ritual-based deck that basically summons out Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier for an awesome boss monster that can really OTK your opponent very well. So without further ado, let's get started on this, but before we do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of the notification squad. Definitely check out the Patreon and the Ko-Fi down below so you guys can donate to the channel, and let's get straight on into this one. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier. So this card is extremely pivotal to the strategy. Basically, this card is the big boss monster that you're going to be summoning in the deck that has the ability that you can ritual summon this card with a Super Soldier ritual, but there's also other cards in this deck that let you ritual summon out the Super Soldier himself. And if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you get to inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack of the monster that this card destroyed that is sent to the graveyard. So even if you attack a monster that's in defense position, they still take the damage. They also has the ability that if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to your graveyard, you can special summon a Gaia monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which we don't use because we don't play any Gaias. Then we play a single copy of the OG Blackluster Soldier. So the OG Blackluster Soldier really helps out in the deck because you can summon him in a variety of different ways in this deck, and he just kind of counts as an extra copy of Blackluster Soldier in the deck. We play 2 copies of Incantation Chalice Slime. Chalice Slime is basically here to help us search and special summon in the deck, with being able to just summon one of the Incantation monsters by discarding a card from our hand and revealing it in your hand really helps out a lot to be able to just summon any which one that we need, depending on what we particularly need to search. We play 3 copies of Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning because it is a Blackluster Soldier deck. And it just wouldn't be a Blackluster Soldier deck without Envoy at the beginning at 3. Which is really amazing. I'm still so glad that this card is at 3. It really helps out in this deck because it's kind of like a secondary boss monster. You have Super Soldier and you have Envoy at the beginning, as well as 2 really big boss monsters alongside your Blackluster Soldier Link monster. Like, we are going all in with Blackluster Soldier in this deck. You play a single copy of Envoy of Chaos. This card is really interesting, almost like a hand trap, if you will, because basically the big effect about this card is that it has the ability to be discarded when a Gaia the Fierce Night monster or a Blackluster Soldier monster attacks, and increase that monster's attack by 1500, which is really, really cool. And it also has the ability that if it's in your graveyard, you can banish a light and a dark monster from your graveyard to add this card back to your hand during your end phase, which is pretty good. I really like that effect to be able to recur itself, and that's why we only play it at 1. Then we play 3 copies of Evening Twilight Night. Evening Twilight Night is really good. It's kind of like the Beginning Night as well, that we're going to show you guys in just a second. But basically this card, when you use it to ritual summon a Blackluster Soldier monster, it gains the effects that once per turn you can target a monster your opponent controls and banish it, and once per turn you can banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand face down. And if this card is banished from your graveyard, you get to add a ritual monster from your deck to your hand. Now, Beginning Night is really neat too, because what Beginning Night does is kind of like what Evening Twilight Night does. If it's used to ritual summon a Blackluster Soldier, you can target a monster your opponent controls and banish it, and then when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, when this card, it can make it a second attack in a row, which is really, really cool. And if this card is banished, you get to add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect. I really like that ability about this card. Then we play 2 copies of Incantation Candle. Candle lets us search those ritual spells from our deck. Talismandra lets us search those ritual monsters. Bookstone lets us add our ritual spells back from the graveyard. And Pencil Plume lets us add our ritual monsters back from our graveyard to a hand. So these cards really help out with being able to add those extra cards back from our graveyards to our hand. And then we play 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hand, which is our only normal summon in the entire deck normally. Usually we're either special summoning or we're usually just special summoning or ritual summoning in this deck, so we're not that concerned about normal summoning. And for our last 2 monsters in this deck, we're playing a single copy of White Dragon Wyvern Buster and a single copy of Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. Now the reason we're playing these 2 cards in this deck is because of the effects of the Beginning and the Evening Twilight Night is because you can banish them from the graveyard by using these cards effects to special summon these guys out, and then banish these to get an add and a search, or get a search off of both of these cards, which is really cool. And I really like that effect of being able to get the search off. And BLS really helps out with that too, because BLS is like, hey, banish these two, search your beginning, or search your copy of Super Soldier and your Super Soldier Synthesis, and then immediately get your cards into play to go into your Blackluster Soldier as well, which is really cool about this deck. This card really stacks out the Blackluster Soldiers really fast. So that's it for the monsters. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Trade-In. You just need the 2 copies of Trade-In because you don't really want to discard your Blackluster Soldiers all that much, but there is opportunities that you can discard them, and it really helps. So we just play the 2 copies of Trade-In. I play a single copy of Incantation Inception. Incantation Inception is just like a pseudo ritual card that lets you ritual summon cards from your hand, which really helps out. And you must tribute like incantation monsters to ritual summon, which is cool as well because you're going to have a lot of them on the field. And this is just really there for an extra ritual spell. We play a single copy of Super Soldier Ritual. Super Soldier Ritual is the one that we use basically to ritual summon from our hand, to ritual summon our Blackluster Soldier monsters. The only thing that you have to keep in mind about this card is that you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total level exactly equals 8. So you have to hit that right at level 8. So you have to tribute 2 4s, a 2 and a 6, something like that. Like you have to equal 8 exactly, which is extremely important in this deck. Then it also has the ability that you can banish this card and a light and dark monster from your graveyard, and then special summon a Blackluster Soldier ritual monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is really pivotal to the deck, and that's why I play this card as a 1-of in here. Then we play 3 copies of Super Soldier Synthesis. Super Soldier Synthesis kind of helps out in the deck. This is the best ritual spell in the entire deck, in my opinion. Basically what this card does is you get to ritual summon a Blackluster Soldier ritual monster from your hand or graveyard, and then you must send a light and dark monster, one from your hand and one from your deck, to the graveyard, whose total level exactly equal 8, and you can only use its effect once per turn. That is not a big deal, because all you have to have is one of these guys in your hand. You either have to have the beginning night or the end night in your hand, or the beginning night, I want to be beginning night and end night, but evening twilight or beginning night, you have to have either one of these in your hand, and then you can ritual summon Blackluster Soldier with Super Soldier Synthesis by just sending one of these from your hand and one of these from your deck to the graveyard, which really helps out, and that's why we play them at 3-ofs now. Then we also play 3 copies of Gateway to Chaos. Gateway to Chaos super helps out in this deck with the consistency in this deck, because basically what Gateway to Chaos does is it lets us add a Blackluster Soldier ritual monster from our deck to our hand immediately when this card resolves, and then it also has the ability that each time a monster card is sent from your hand, is sent from the hand or the field to the grave, you get to put a spell counter on it, and you can remove 3 spell counters from this card to add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand, which is usually going to be Super Soldier Synthesis. And then we play for the last 3 cards in the main deck. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave, because you really just need the 3 Call by the Graves to stop hand traps. That's the only reason we play these in here, is because you need to stop hand traps, because you're trying to OTK your opponent by getting out a BLS and a Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. You want to get both of those out on the field as quickly as possible, and this card really helps that out a lot. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. And the extra deck will go by pretty quickly. So basically you're playing a single copy of the Blackluster Soldier Link Monster. You need this card in this deck because it goes with the theme. If you don't have access to this card, because this card is still really expensive at the time of me recording this card deck, you could change it out for Deco Talker or another Link 3 monster if you want to. We don't really have to play Link monsters anymore, but in this deck that the levels are kind of weird, it really helps out to play Link monsters in this particular deck, but this deck is totally Master Rule 5 ready. We play a single copy of Unicorn. Unicorn really helps out because you can bounce stuff with this card. 1 copy of Phoenix because you can pop spells and traps. Cerberus because you can pop monsters. And then something that I teched into this deck is a single copy of Cross Sheep. So the best 2 effects about Cross Sheep is the ritual effect and the fusion effect. And the ritual effect is actually nothing to look over. The effect of the ritual effect is if a ritual monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, you get to draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards, which can really help you search through your deck and get into the cards that you need out of your deck. Now the thing that you have to remember about this extra deck is that you can't special summon from your extra deck if you control an incantation monster. So you're not going to be going into the extra deck a lot. So if you don't want to play some of these extra deck cards, you don't don't have to, because I go into the extra deck every so often in this deck, but it's not all the time. Then we play a single copy of Salamangreat Alamirage. Alamirage really helps out in this deck. I would recommend playing Alamirage because you can actually normal summon one of the evening nights or the beginning nights and then link them away with this, which can help out getting them banished from the graveyard to get searches. So I highly recommend that you play the Salamangreat Alamirage. One copy of Boral Sword because it helps us OTK. Because you have to play a bunny and then a really big dragon. It's necessary. We play for our XYZ monsters, which that's it for our Link monsters that I suggest for you to play in this deck. For the XYZ monsters, we're going to be playing a single copy of Hope Harboring Dragon Titanic Galaxy. This card comes in so handy with stopping spells. One copy of the Heretic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. This card comes in really handy when your opponent has multiple cards that you need to pop on your opponent's side of the field that your Blackluster Soldier monsters cannot get through. One copy of Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. Felgrand just prevents effects from targeting him, which is really cool. He lets one card that you target by detaching a material. You can target a face-up monster on the field, and its effects are negated, but it's unaffected by other card effects for the rest of the turn, which can be really helpful. One copy of Baguska just to kind of stun your opponent if you can make it in the deck. You can really easily make this card by normal summoning like a Manju and special summoning one of your dragons. One copy of Tornado Dragon. Tornado Dragon helps out with popping back row some, which, if you've already used Phoenix, you can go into Tornado Dragon, or if you want something with a little bit more of an oomph and you had the 2 level 4s, you can go into Tornado Dragon instead of Phoenix. One copy of Exciton Knight, just to blow board if you need to. Daigusto Emerald, just to help us add our cards back to our hand by shuffling them back in the deck. You can shuffle 3 monsters from your graveyard back in your deck and be able to draw 2, which really helps out in this deck. You really want to play the Daigusto Emerald in here because it's super easy to make and that consistency really helps out. And one copy of number 60, Timeless. This card really, really, really helps OTK because you make this card, make it double the attack of a monster like a BLS, go to 6,000 and attack twice into 2 monsters. This card is the MVP of the entire extra deck. I make this card every single time just about that I play this deck. When I go into the extra deck, he's my number 1. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's super fun. I highly recommend that you guys give this a shot. It's a really, really good deck to play around with. And it's Blackluster Soldier, man. Like, what gets better than that? Like, you're playing the OG Blackluster Soldier from the original Duel Monsters. So anyways, guys, this is Dark Armed Duelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.